It's Friday night, so what else am I doing? I'm out in the hills, of course I am. Of course it's Tuesday morning by the time this comes out, but why not come and join me on this slightly chilly Friday evening up at Cuckmere Haven and Seven Sisters. Okay, after last week, I've made the decision, and despite the fact I've changed my mind several times since, I'm going with my original decision because there is logic in it. I'm going back to Seven Sisters and Cuckmere Haven because I know the area and I haven't got much time this week. The sun is not looking brilliant, but there are some breaks in the cloud which could perhaps give us for some interesting skylines over the cliffs, so I'm looking forward to that. Apparently I didn't plan well enough. The car park closes at 9 o'clock, so I've got just under 2 hours, which is really annoying because I really wanted to go for a long walk down to the seafront and be there sort of around 9:30ish, 10 o'clock-ish when blue hour hits. So I've paid for 2 hours. I'm going to have a wander around here. There's some shots that I can get around here that I wanted anyway, and then I'll see where I'm at and see if there's any possibility of parking anywhere else around here. But from experience, it's just come back to me that I don't think there is. So this is really annoying. If you've ever been this way, you know how gorgeous it is around here. You know how many opportunities there are for amazing photos. But I'm really demotivated now, knowing that I've only got a couple of hours before I have to be back. It's going to be the sort of 45-minute walk down to the seafront where I want to get the cliffs. So realistically, that's not going to happen. I think I'm just going to hang around here and get what shots I can, but maybe I'll go somewhere else. I'm walking up the hill with the Cuckmere Haven behind me. I'm taking a few shots as I come up the hill. I think my plan today, actually, I'm going to stay where I am. I'm going to use the full extent of my £3 worth of parking. I've heard it mentioned a few times that if you get one good photo from a day's landscape photography, then that's a success. I think when you're dealing with 2 hours and actually quite a lot of people around at the moment as well, I think if I get one that I like here, I'll consider that a success as well. I think I'm going to set up camp here for a bit, take a few shots. The sun is coming through the clouds, so that is quite promising. I think there's potential for a dramatic sunset here and hopefully some reflections out of the river as well. Slight variation to the plan, but I am sticking to it. The sun's not where I thought it was going to be, so I'm moving to what I hope is going to be a better location that I think will actually get me potentially 2 decent shots, or at least a good attempt at 2 decent shots. Let's see what happens. Sadly, at this point, the wind became so strong and so loud that I've decided not to put you through it anymore. At this point, you can see I'm lining up a shot of Cuckmere Haven, and the camera has blown out the sky behind, but there is a gorgeous orange hue and some really dramatic clouds. So at this point, I'm just waiting for a gap in the clouds. There's a certain amount of symmetry within the Cuckmere Haven River as well. It doesn't quite work out to be precisely symmetrical, which is mildly annoying, but I'm working around that basis. The clouds also moving really fast, so it's just a case now of waiting for the right moment and picking that perfect moment for the shot. There's lots of waiting around here. The clouds are moving very slowly, and I'm starting to get a bit worried because my parking is going to run out. Now the sun is exactly what I wanted. All I'm waiting for is the movement of the clouds, and it kept teasing me because it would start off by suggesting that there was going to be a clearing, and then for some reason it didn't quite happen. It was like additional cloud came in from somewhere else. While I was waiting, I tried a couple of other compositions as well. I'm now starting to get a little bit frustrated because we start to lose a little bit of light. The cloud is continuing to move, but also it's getting colder and windier as well on top of the hill, not to mention the fact that I'm still worried about my car parking. I keep thinking that I'm about to get the shot, and then again some additional cloud appears to come in from nowhere. But then after all that waiting, it finally happened. The cloud started to clear. There was a lovely little gap in the cloud that the sun was shining through, and I put that nicely on the top right third in the camera. I took a number of shots and bracketed them all so I got a nice dynamic range for when I got in. Some of them also had the paddle borders in as well, some of them didn't. It gave me a nice range of options, but you can see now the sun is absolutely gorgeous, and this was the moment I was waiting for. This is what this particular trip was all about. I think also it justified my decision to stay in this spot. Despite looking for the decisive moment, I decided there were quite a few of them because there were quite a few different shapes that the sun was giving out from behind that cloud that I really liked. So I took a few different options. I took a couple of slightly different compositions as well to give me options when I got back, and overall I'm really happy with the result. If you could hear me here, this is where I'm telling you just how excited I am. Looking at the light on my face, you can see how much brighter and nicer the weather got and how much more enjoyable this moment was. And it really justified all that waiting around. This is amazing. This is awesome. This is really annoying because I was just starting to get into the flow of it, and now I've got to go. I managed to get a couple of other pictures on the way back down, but yeah, the parking is pretty much run out, so it's time to go. I'm back at the house. I've had to refilm the ending because unfortunately for some reason my camera phone didn't record it. This was a really interesting trip. I thought it went generally pretty well. It was really frustrating at the start. Once I got that time limit, that kind of took away all my relaxation and to some degree a lot of my energy. But I decided that I was going to go back for one of the shots that I had in mind. I'd seen the Cuckmere Haven shot done before. Now, it didn't quite work out as I wanted. I would have preferred to get a little bit more of the bend on the bottom of that picture. But given the time I had and the equipment I had, I think I got the best shot I could in those circumstances. I did try a few different angles. I didn't just settle on that one place. I tried to really bring out that curve of that bottom of the river, but unfortunately it brought in other problems like trees on the side and other distractions elsewhere in the frame. It was also a real opportunity to explore the decisive moment in landscape photography because I'd found the shot I wanted, I knew the composition I wanted, and it was simply a case of waiting. And there were only a limited number of shots that would have worked there, I think. And the one I wanted was dependent on the clouds moving in a particular way. So there was always that risk it was never going to come, but thankfully it did, and I got the shot that I wanted. I think given the time limitations I was under this week, it was the right decision to go to somewhere that I knew and go to a spot where I knew roughly where I could find the composition I wanted, and I think that's worked out really well. So once again, thank you for joining me. Apologies for the sound and video problems this week. Hopefully you'll be back when I come back in a couple of weeks. Now I'm going to take next week off because these videos have actually ended up taking me a lot more time and effort than I envisaged they would, and a lot of my other actual money making side of my business has had to take a bit of a back seat, so I need to spend a little bit more time working on that. But I'll be back in a couple of weeks, hopefully with an exciting new location. If you've got any ideas for where I can go, if you've got any ideas for challenges I can do, please, as always, I'd love to hear from you. Please give this video a thumbs up, leave me a nice or nasty comment, I don't care at this stage, and yeah, share the video and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you when I next see you.